Were you adopted from like birth?
I aged out of the system, but that's the reason why I say they're my adoptive parents, because no matter where I went, they were the ones who kept up with me. Like I said, when I was at home on the couch, and my dad said, you see what I'm saying? Just having that situation in life, I had a home to go sleep on the couch somewhere. Right. And it happened to be somebody who adopted me.
What's up, everybody? This is the interview, and today I got with me the most unique flavor award winner, second place Beaufort Cook-Off, first place local, and second place statewide Skills USA culinary competition winner. Today I got with me executive chef Jay.
What's
Jay,
up,
how
man?
you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
Hey, like Shannon Sharp be saying, how was the little intro?
I like that. It was nice. I like that. You got all my accolades.
We're gonna, I'm gonna get better though. I ain't have much time to prepare.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get better as far as not having to look at the phone.
All right. That's fair.
But nah, man, I appreciate you, bro, for allowing me to come in your space and doing the interview with me. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you for coming, man. I thank you.
Yes, sir. So, first, tell the people what you do. Like, tell them who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I'm executive chef Jay Danielson here at Baxter's 1892 in lovely downtown New Bern. Mm-hmm. I also own a catering company called Black Pepper Hospitality, so I'm also known in some circles as Chef Black Pepper. Right. I like to cook. My style is like a southern coastal with Caribbean influence on it. So, I always like to say, I don't want you to know which beach you're on or which body of water you're on. Ooh, you know what I mean? As far as when you taste my food, that's kind of the vibe I want you to get with it. So, right. I'm a Christian, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a chef. That's about it. Yeah.
And you got kids? I
got two girls. Two girls, like spoiled to death, boy. Spoiled to death.
You like me, and I just had a newborn, man.
Ooh, new daddy.
Did you want a boy though?
I did. I still want a boy, but I'm too scared to try and go for it again because what if I get another girl? Man, I'll never financially cover.
Man, yo, when I had my gender reveal, I was so hurt when we did the pop thing for the color, and it came out. Man, what? Man, I was so hurt. But Jay, real quick, just tell them like your upbringing, like what got you into wanting to cook, like how did that come about?
Man, you know what? Like most things in life is one of those things that's kind of by chance, right? Mm-hmm. Me, I wanted to go to the NBA, not tall enough. Same. I wanted to go to the NFL, not big enough. Like, you know what I mean? So, and then I'm from in the middle of nowhere, I'm Morehead City, but I'm 30 minutes past that from the town of Beaufort. You know what I mean? So I didn't have anything else. I mean, I only got into cooking because it was the only job that I could do at the time that was around. And then I had been doing it for so long. And then, I just went through that point in life and I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? You know what I mean? And then cooking was the only thing that I was good at effortlessly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I grew up in foster care for a little bit. So I've been all over Eastern North Carolina, all the way to West Craven, all the way down to Lake Waccamaw, all the way up to Kennedy Homes in Kinston, all the way back east. Like, you know what I mean? So I've been around, North Carolina's definitely my home. And when I tell you that cooking was the only thing, I tried everything. I tried delivering bread, selling car insurance, selling health insurance. It just wasn't for me. Cutting grass, doing construction. Right. Cooking was the only thing that I could do well, effortlessly. Right. So then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Let me try. Let me, go to school. Let me try and put something behind all of this. And then lo and behold, it kind of just took off, man.
Now, what age were you about at? Like you say, you kind of had all those jobs that you were kind of doing. You was figuring out it wasn't for you. Around what age was you at when you decided to go out to school? Was you like early
26, late 20s?
Okay,
honestly.
So it was a little later in life.
It was later in life, yeah. By then, I should have already been knowing what I was going to do, you know what I mean?
Hey, so guys, if I can tell you one thing, guys, we always figured out late. Women figured out way before.
It's about the time I had my daughter, I had to figure it out. I got forced to figure it out like, okay. All right, I need to know something. I need to do something that can provide, you know what I mean? Right. But I didn't want to be miserable. That was my whole thing. Like I refused to just, I watched all my uncles, mamas, daddies, cousins, all of them doing back breaking construction, brick masonry, cutting grass, all of that. And I'm like, all of that sounds like a punishment. Right. You know what I mean? None of that sounds like, with you. So.
Because we want to do something that we love, that we actually have a passion for. And I feel like you know, a lot of people always do things in life. We work on 9 to 5s and stuff like that, but it's not really our passion. We're kind of stuck with doing that until we retire because we're afraid to take that leap and whatever. So it's good to see that you took that leap and whatnot. So what school did you go to?
I went to Carteret Community. As we have a great culinary and hospitality program there. They built us a lovely building. It's great. Like, honestly, it was one of the best choices I made, honestly. The way it happened was I was sitting there. This time I was at a low point in life. I had moved back in with my parents. So you already know. It's before my daughter, before anything. I moved back in with my parents. I'm on my daddy's couch and I'm sitting there like, maybe I'll go to barber school. And then we would just happen to be cooking or something. And I was like, oh, no, you should mix this with that because it goes better. Dad looked at me and was like, now that's what you need to be doing. You need to be doing something with food. And I was like, I tell you what, the next opportunity I get, I don't care what I got to do, how many hoops I got to jump through. The next chance I get to register for culinary school, I'm going to do it. Yeah. It was that week.
Wow.
That week when I said it, it was that was the last week. So I got my first semester paid for because it was right after the hurricane and they had HER funded. Yeah. And so I was able to get my first semester paid for. I went with like a week's deadline.
Wow.
It was just that much. If I would have procrastinated, waited, ain't no telling, would have threw off the trajectory of a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
fact.
Yeah.
That's what's up. In your family, who would you say is like close to you when it comes to cooking? And who would you say you picked it up from? Like, is there anybody you picked it up from other than just yourself? Like,
ooh, you asking a tough one there. Okay. In my family, okay. In my birth family, I would have to say like my granddaddy was a chef in New York, and then my mom was probably the best cook out of everybody. My aunt, she was good at the macaroni, that down home kind of cooking. Yeah. So, you know, it depends on which category. I would say now, at this point now, I don't think it touched me in the family, but I'd probably say the closest living relative would probably be maybe one of my aunts, maybe. Yeah. And in my inspiration, I got a lot of inspirations from like, I like to know what the rules are with the classic way of doing things. Like, so, you know, your standard chefs, like your Trotter and, you know, Marco Pierre, you know, even Emerald, Rachel Ray, all the stuff I used to watch with my grandma, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it kind of comes out. The only
name I know right there.
Yeah, Rachel Ray. Yeah. So, you know, I take a lot of inspiration from that. And then it's just like, I'm a local guy, so I know a lot of local chefs from Wilmington down, Keith Rose, Jamie Davis at the Hackney. You know what I mean? We even got chefs here in New Bern over Cypress. There's different people locally, you know what I mean? My first cooking job in Beaufort, North Carolina was Blue Moon Bistro. And that's where I would say like, I really cut my teeth and learned what it was like to be a chef. You know what I mean? Like it was not as glitz and glamoury. Like, you know what I mean? No, you might know what to cook, but today you washing dishes. And you don't understand that until you get to that next level that, you know what I mean? When you become a chef, your dishwasher going to call out. So you're not going to wash the dishes. You see what I'm saying? It's different lessons I learned along the way.
I don't know too much about the restaurant game, like what goes on in the back, but I didn't think like they would actually have one of the chefs back there washing dishes and stuff.
Yeah, man, I do it all, man. I prep the food. I run the orders. Sometimes you'll catch me out here running food to tables, whatever it is to be successful with. Like, you know what I mean? There's no job, I think, within this that it, you know, any job period, but big for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll greet people. I'll take them to their seat. That I'm not even supposed to be out there doing that. Like, you know what I mean? But you know, this is my baby. You know what I mean? They gave me the opportunity, so I'm gonna run it like it was mine. Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my thought process along the line.
Okay. What would you say, how was that switch for, what was the place you said you was at again?
Blue Moon Bistro.
Blue Moon Bistro. What was that switch like coming to Baxter's? Like, and how did that come about?
Okay, so, well, there's a lot of time that elapsed in between there. It was like a 5-year lapse. I had worked a lot of jobs back home just because, again, I was already cooking before I got the degree. So I was kind of in different kitchens and doing fast food. I started out waiting tables. I did different things. And when I got there, it showed me like it can be done. Is you can just think outside the box. That was my first job. And getting the job here was different because the chef that was running this place, he hurt his hand. You know, for a chef, that's pretty much like a heart attack. That's you're done. Yeah. So me and him were friends though. That was the ironic part. Me and him were always cool. I was running another country club out here, and me and him were always close. I seen him at Mumfest one year, and you know, from then on, we kept up with each other. So one day, you know, I found out he was retiring. I only called him just to be like, man, what's going on? Da 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 da.
Right.
You know, you are inspiration to me. You know, we're just friends. Just like, he's like, you need to put in an application. And I was just like, I thought he was joking. I was like, oh no, because at this time, like I said, I was running a culinary company or a catering company. Right. That's kind of what I was doing before I got here. And he's like, no, you need to put in an application. So I put in an application. I had my cook off. You know, it was like 6 of us, and we had to go through elimination stages of cooking. You know what I mean?
Really?
And
they put y'all through that?
Yeah. It's not a joke. Yeah, especially for this level. Yeah, it wasn't just what can you do? No, they interviewed me one time. Then I had to interview with the owners the second time. Then I had to cook. You know, so it was like several things that led up to me getting.
Was you nervous about that? Or did you feel like those other chefs had like a better resume? You would say. Like,
well, I didn't know. We did them all at separate times. I was nervous because. I mean, I'm nervous anytime. If I cook for you, I'm gonna be nervous because you know what I mean. You don't get that second chance. If it's nasty, the next time the association's gonna be, I ain't gonna eat nothing for him because you know what I mean. So every time I'm nervous, but you know, I just stayed true to me, and I think I was the only person who did like 3 dishes. Everybody else did 1. I did 3 dishes because I wanted to show range. So I did a pork chop to show I could do your tougher meats. I did a fish to show I got finesse. And I can do coastal, and then I even did a salad to show that I even have the delicate hand to do a salad. Right. You know what I mean? So I just went for what I know. I tried to stay true to me, and so to answer your question, I was extremely nervous, but
What's your favorite dish you would say to cook or to make?
Ooh, anything seafood.
Anything seafood?
Anything seafood. Right now I got a stuffed mahi dish that has been selling since day one since I've been here, but I love seafood. I can just show out a little bit, you know what I mean?
What's that? Kind of explain that a little bit. What
do you mean?
That dish.
Oh, okay. So we do a yellow rice. But you know how when you make rice, you might make it with water or something like that, chicken stock. I use coconut milk.
Coconut milk.
Yeah, so it gives it that coconut Caribbean flavor to it.
Yeah, okay.
So then I plate the mahi, which has been baked. It's been stuffed with onions, peppers, goat cheese, cream cheese, spinach. Stuff it right in the middle. You get you a nice 8-ounce piece. Put it right on top of that rice. And I do crispy fried kale right on top of it with a little bit of oil around the plate just to make it pop a little bit. You know what I mean? You can do so much with seafood. With a steak's a steak. It's good because of the quality. Usually, there's not much you can do. Salt, pepper, make sure you cook it right. Yeah. But with fish, you got to cook it right. You got to make sure the flavor's right. Yeah. There's a lot more that goes into it as far as I'm concerned. That's what I feel. Yeah. So
that was crazy. I made some daggone, usually my old lady, she usually do most of the cooking. Yeah. I made some salmon like the first time.
Okay.
See, you know what I'm saying? But I love some salmon. What would you do to some salmon? Like
turn it into a patty, like a crab cake, but a salmon croquette. I like that because it just, I don't know, salmon's so basic. Again, I try and stay inside that realm. Yeah. You would order it because you see salmon up there, but it'll come to you differently. So that's what I want. I want you to know what you're getting, but try it in a different way. Yeah. So that way it expands your palate a little bit. You know what I mean? That's my rule of thumb when I try and do something. I want you to taste something that you know and take it to a different level. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah. So when you're like at home and stuff, right? Are you kind of, I'm asking kind of 2 questions with this. Right. Are you kind of using like air fryers and stuff like that? And do you feel like people nowadays using like air fryers is kind of cheating?
Okay, so no, I don't feel like it's cheating. And yes, I do use air fryers. It just depends on what you're cooking. You see what I'm saying? I don't feel like it's cheating per se, but it's like, I'm definitely a no-go in the microwave. But the microwave, no. The air fryer, because for the snacks that you would get, like your pizza rolls and all that stuff, again, we men with kids. So we have, I'm not going to sit there and cook a 3-course meal for the kids because they're going to tell me they want Chick-fil-A anyway. Yeah. So for the nuggets and dino nuggets,
isn't it
mozzarella
crazy? All the
sticks,
kids want is simple stuff. Like
they do. Taquitos.
Nuggets, fries, pizza. I don't know why it's like that. But yeah. Kids ain't eating nothing. Yeah. So a quote, I'm just quote you on this, and I just kind of want you to explain to me what you mean by that and the importance of it. Okay. So you once said consistency beats clout.
Every time.
You remember saying that?
Vaguely. Yeah. I don't know if that was a post or if that
I seen that in a post.
I might have posted that. That sounds like a post I would have posted.
So what does that kind of mean to you?
Showing up and doing it right every single time is going to beat clout 110 times. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants you go to with the big names,
Right.
Fill in the blank at whatever name you want here, and you'll see that it's not the same as if you go to your mom and pop and you got somebody who's actually knows the heartbeat of the restaurant, actually in the restaurant working, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I just say show up every day and just be consistent. You have nothing to worry about.
Okay. Let's see. So you also have a book, right?
I do.
When did your book come out?
I think I did that a year into culinary school, so maybe 2024.
Okay. Now, is this book, is it like a cookbook, or is it like a book about your life or something like that?
It's a cookbook.
It's a cookbook.
It's a mixture between a cookbook and a book about my life, because the names of the dishes are addresses when I was in foster care where I stayed at. So it was like different meals we would have at those places. Right. So that's kind of why I have like the Kavanaugh Street, Marry Me Chicken, because we would have Marry Me Chicken when I was in this group home or this foster home. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the mix I put on it. You know what I mean? Right. My little spin. Yeah. Eastern Carolina Cooking at blackpepper.com. Yeah.
At blackpepper.com. Okay. All right. And speaking of the name Black Pepper, so that's like that's your name you got in school, right?
I did get that in school, yeah.
Explain that to the people who don't know. How did that name kind of come about?
Okay, so we were in culinary school, and our chef was like, he's like, I got to see how all of y'all fit together. You're like my little seasoning. So when he said that, I was just kind of being class clownish, and I was like, I want to be Black Pepper, but I'm gonna spell it differently. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And everybody's like, this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. You look. Maybe about 5 years later, a lot of people still call me that. I cash checks in that name. Like, you know what I mean? It's a real brand. Like, you know what
Chef
I mean?
Black Pepper? Right?
Chef Black Pepper. I spell it a certain way. It's BLAQUEPEPPA.
Okay.
With like a little tilde under the E and the A, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a play, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just wanting to be different again, just trying to be outside the box.
You got to stand out. Okay, that's what's up. Competition, right? So you've been in cook competitions and stuff like that, right?
Several of them.
Several. What's the importance of entering those competitions, and like, what do you feel like you get out of it?
Two things. The importance, anybody can say that they can cook. It's not enough to be like, oh, I can cook or I can make this one thing well. When you show up to a competition, they can cook too. They feel the same way. Right. So it's mano y mano. You actually see, can you cook? Or can you cook better than Joe Blow and your Annie and them and everybody that you know what I mean? But can you cook better than somebody who cooks that's in your same realm? Right. So that's kind of the way I approach competitions. Like, I never approach it like, oh, I'm to be the best, this, that, and the third. I approach it like, am I really as good as I feel like I am? Like, yeah. You know what I mean? And then it just validates it when I do, or if I do win. It's like, okay, so I am really who I think I am. You know what I mean? For me, it's kind of
confidence for you?
I would say it boosts my confidence, but it checks me a little bit too. Yeah. Because if I'm not, it's gonna show too. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where it's like, if you think you're good at something, you got to go against other people to see if you're good. To beat a man, you have to beat the man, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the logic that I apply to it. Real.
When y'all cooking, because we come from a little sports background. Is there any like junk talking like?
Not really.
Not really.
You're so focused. You got to think. You got to cook a whole meal in like 90 minutes on average from scratch. It's kind of like, I don't even have time for that. You know what I mean? Because you got to think your average meal, you right at an hour if you don't get any prep. Right. You know what I mean? If you started cooking right now from opening boxes of everything, it's going to take you probably right at an hour. So I don't have time to go back and forth. And it's just like, like they used to say, oh, look at the scoreboard. Yeah, you'll see. You know what I mean? Look at the judges when they, you know what I mean? So it's not one of those things where I got to beat my chest and be like this, that, and the third. Right. When they call my name at the end, you heard it. You know what I mean? You've seen it. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we kind of, get out of here, one thing that I really do want to touch on, because I do feel like, and if you want to talk about it, if you don't, we don't have to, but I do feel like it can help somebody or help some folks. So I did hear you say, that you were in a foster home. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you? Foster system, I'm sorry. You grew up in the foster care system and stuff. What was that like for you? How did that shape you to become like the man that you are and stuff like that?
So that's a little bit of a complex answer in itself too, because when you're going through a situation, you don't see the benefits on the other side, right? Right. After I've gotten on this side of it, I kind of see now like, all right, I probably would have been worse for the wear if I would have stayed in the same environment that I thought, you know what I mean, that I thought I had to have, you know what I mean? I got to see the world at a young age and see different perspectives at a young age, and not just see things from my grandma or my mama's point of view, you see what I'm saying? Or just, I've been all over seeing other people's point of view too. So it kind of opened me a little bit to be like, I don't have to be like this, or I don't have to be like that. I can be who I want to be. You see what I'm saying? So it molded me to see that I don't have to go with the crowd. I don't have to be, you know what I mean? I don't have to be anything I'm not. I can just be me, because at the end of the day, that's all I got anyway. That's all I have to prove it to, win, lose, or draw. When they put me in that casket, you know what I mean? They're going to forget me a week later. So, you know what I mean? My whole thought process was like, you know, at first I had the whole, you know, why me, this, that, and the third, da-da-da-da-da. But it was like, why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not? I could have been. And then when I see other people, some of my other counterparts, they still have that mentality. And it's like, I've been through hell, so I know exactly, you know, how to navigate and not take myself down there purposely. Like, you know what I mean? I was in hell involuntarily. Then I went into another situation, and it's like, now that I have kids, they'll never know what that feeling's like. Yeah. That's another thing. And then even my adoptive parents, we're still really, really close to this day. Like, I have a key to their house. They're my grandparents. They're the grandparents to my kids. Right. They did my wife's baby shower. Like, you see what I'm saying? So I don't differentiate. Those are my parents. You see what I'm saying?
Were you adopted from like birth?
I aged out of the system, but that's the reason why I say they're my adoptive parents, because no matter where I went, they were the ones who kept up with me. Like I said, when I was at home on the couch, and my dad said, you see what I'm saying? Just having that situation in life, I had a home to go sleep on a couch somewhere. Right. And it happened to be somebody who adopted me.
So to kids and stuff like that, that's in the foster care system, what would you say to them?
Don't give up. I say keep going. Don't look at this as a moment in your life to, it's going to be tough, and you're going to feel, and you're going to have those marks with you for as long as you can have it. You know, just remember, don't bleed on somebody who didn't cut you. That's one thing. And don't give up on yourself, because when you get in that system, like with me, I aged out 21. They gave me a $500 check and said, hey, have a nice life. Right. So if it wasn't for the man who I was living with at the time that was like, yeah, you can stay here until you figure something else out, I would have essentially been out, because he stopped getting paid for me. He had no obligations. You see what I'm saying? So I would say just really, you got to be your own advocate. You know what I mean? Like, don't let nobody silence you. Don't let nobody tell you can't do something. Don't let nobody say you're not going to be anything. Just keep going. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you know, the way I look at it is, don't keep score, just keep scoring. You see what I'm saying? Because at some point along the way, it's going to come out. It's going to show, you know what I mean? And either it's going to show as you being a better person for the wear or a worse person. Either way, it's going to be one of the two. It's not going to be like you can just, you know, we don't come from the same regular life that a lot of people are. So you'll feel like, man, I didn't have it as good. Then you'll see somebody who had it worse and be like, oh, wow. You see what I'm saying? So don't compare yourself. Just go through what God has you going through and see on the other end what the result is that he wanted you. Because you never know. You know what I mean? I feel like just a little side story. When I didn't rekindle a relationship with my birth mom until I was like 23. Wow. And at this time, I was a grown man. So it was like we were different. She's still thinking of me as the kid who went into foster care. I'm a grown man now. Now, with that being said, we rekindled our relationship. She died a year later. Wow. I was the only person. I'm her only kid. I was the only person I had to go, you know what I mean? Even after all the stuff we've been through, I was still there for that moment. You see what I'm saying? Wow. So, you know, I said that to say, the only reason why I think I was able to make it through that is because I spent 20 something years away from her. You see what I'm saying? If I had been there every day, it probably would have hurt a lot more. It still hurt, don't get me wrong. But it was just, at this point, we met up again as I was an adult. Right. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I see now on the other end, like, I could be a worse person than I am. I could be a lot better too, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not as bad as I think I am too. Right, right. or as other people might think, rather.
Yeah, I get it. Well, if you are in the foster system, I mean, I hope those words, really encourage you. Like you say, don't give up, keep your head high. It's always a light, at the end of the tunnel.
Always.
I definitely sympathize and stuff like that. My grandparents, they run like a foster home and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
They actually adopted, like, I want to say 2 of them and stuff like that. When they age out, they still, we have some that aged out and they still take care of them, would do anything for them, things like that. So I got to see that side, you know what I mean? So it does hold a, deep place in my heart just to see it. And I think my mom and my parents right now is actually thinking about getting into it. But yeah, it holds a deep place, man. But look, I really appreciate you. Before we get out, what's next for Chef Jay?
Well, right now I'm entering into this North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association's cook-off. So
okay.
we're taking all the chefs from all over North Carolina. So right now we're heading into the prelims.
Where's that going to be held at?
This one's going to be held at the college. The first one is going to be May 4th at the college. And
Craven Community?
Carteret.
Oh, Carteret. Okay.
Yeah, it's the prelim for the Coastal Division.
Yeah,
so it'll be like 5 or 10 of us competing.
Okay.
And then the next level will go to like the Piedmont area and we'll just keep going. And they're coming, Western Carolina's coming in. We'll meet in Raleigh. And then there'll be 2 winners, People's Choice, and another one. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm trying to get this business and get this food here at Baxter's in that next stage of things. Like, you know what I mean? I want the people in New Bern to stand up straight when they hear Baxter's and Chef Jay and what we're cooking and what we're doing. You know what I mean? I need them to understand, like, come on in, check out the food, check out the vibe, And then for those people who are just like, oh man, I kind of want to have a small, intimate experience, I still do those private events. You know what I mean? I do private catering. You know what I mean? You can book me at blackpepper.com. So, anybody or anywhere, I come to you, I bring everything to you. You know what I mean? So, that's kind of what's on the horizon right now. But we don't know what the future may hold. It could, maybe chopped. Who knows?
Yeah.
God willing.
Well, look, Jay, man, I appreciate you, man. Look, anything you need from me, I love what you're doing. Anything you ever need from me, video wise, anything, like, I got you. I like to see black men and stuff succeed and make something for themselves, because we're always against each other. We should be with each other.
Uniting,
so
110%.
So look, man, I appreciate
you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Man. This is the interview, Chef Jay, Black Pepper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So make sure y'all book him. Make sure y'all get his book.
Got to.
All that good stuff. Come check him out at Baxter's.
1892. You know
Come on, like you say, he come out, he greet the people. You may catch him out, even though he ain't supposed to be out.
Yeah, I ain't even supposed to be out there, but I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna see y'all because my name's on the bottom of that menu, so I want to make sure that everything's good with them. So yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate you, man.
But that's it, man. The interview,
that's
man.
the
Chef
event.
Jay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, we out.
Have a good one.